It's time for Where You Live with Gene and Tony, the show that's all about owning, buying, selling, renting, and association management. If it involves a home, we'll talk about it. Here's your chance to get your homeowner questions answered. From the Concierge Landscape Studios, here's Gene and Tony.
Needed the shelter of someone's arms, and there you were. Needed someone to understand my ups and downs, and there you were.
Good morning and welcome once again to Where You Live with Gene and Tony. I'm Gene Sullivan.
And I'm Tony Crockett.
And today on the show, our first topic, thanks for the help, is the city of Minneapolis sending mixed messages to homeowners, landlords, and business owners. A couple weeks ago, you probably remember we brought to you a story about a new national group called the National Homeowners Advocate Group. And one of their chief goals is to take a look at getting state legislators to ban homeowner associations from being able to foreclose on their members for non-payment of dues. Do you think that's right? And today on the show, we'll have the president of that organization, Harvella Jones, joining us in just a little bit. We also want to talk about asking the question, why do homeowners seem to not care about their HOA? Do you have some views on that you'd like to share with us? That and so much more.
And if you would like to comment on any of our stories or any of our opinions, call us, 651-289-4488. We'd love to hear from you.
Yes. Well, let's get started with our first segment, Property Management in the News. And today, Property Management in the News is brought to you by Pest Control Services. When you need to get rid of unwanted pests in your home or rental property, call owner Greg Keener. He's responsive, professional, and a proud member of Angie's List. The number, 952-894-9748. That's Pest Control Services. Tell Greg you heard his ad right here on Where You Live. Well, the topic we want to bring up here is thanks for the help. Minneapolis sends a mixed message to homeowners, landlords, and business owners alike. Earlier this last week, it was on Tuesday, Mayor R.T. Rybeck delivered his State of the City message to over 300 people at Augsburg College. In his message this year, Mayor Rybeck stated that he was proud of the private-public partnership that he has both created and maintained in developing what he called a sweet spot in the city, allowing those businesses that need assistance the most to receive it from Minneapolis and help to create more jobs. City Council President Barbara Johnson also was quoted as saying that she appreciated Mayor Rybeck's initiatives for Minneapolis businesses. Rybeck went on to say in his address, growing businesses will ease the tax burden on other property owners. He said the important thing is that the city must know when to get out of the way. One of the programs heralded at the State of the City message was noting what was called the 2% loan program for small businesses. This is a program that's in its 23rd year of existence and provides a low-interest loan to qualifying businesses. Now, while the focus and tone of this message rings true, we here at Where You Live wonder if the mayor and city council may be missing the mark by sending some mixed signals that have been anything but deleterious to the city's homeowners, landlords, and business owners. It's nice to talk about wanting to do something for these folks. I think you'd agree with me, Tony. But the last couple of years, we've seen things that seem to be counterproductive to that.
Yeah, that's right. The Minneapolis City Council has done a lot of, passed a lot of ordinances. I don't know if they're ordinances or just budget issues, items, fines, fees that really impacted small landlords.
Yeah, the one that has been nearest to you because you even tried to do some lobbying in the city of Minneapolis for this, and that was the conversion fee.
Yeah. When was it? 2008. The city council came up with this idea because they were concerned, the idea is there's always a cause for these issues coming before the city council. And the cause then was this fear that a lot of single family homes were going to be lost, that were going to decay because investors were coming in and buying them up wholesale very cheaply, foreclosed units or abandoned units, and then throwing renters in there, collecting rent, but not ever upgrading the property or even maintaining the property. So there were some neighborhoods that were really, really being impacted by this. So the council, in its wisdom, decided it would charge what they called a conversion fee. If you owned a single-family home in the city of Minneapolis and you wanted to vacate it and start to rent it out, you had to pay a rental conversion fee of $1,000.
Yeah.
The Multi-Housing Association got involved right away, and we started meeting with the city council. And what it all boiled down to was the fee was passed on single-family homes only, even though the whole process started out also they wanted to charge a fee to multi-units and to whatever. So it ended up only affecting single-family homes. It's a $1,000 fee. And the problem was no single-family homeowners who weren't already renting their unit were even aware of it. So it was slipped in because the people it was going to affect hadn't even made the decision to start renting their home yet.
And I would say that we probably have witnessed over the last couple of years, because of responsible homeowners, more of them than at any other time that I can remember, wishing to hang on to the property, because to sell would mean to just give money away at a closing.
A loss.
Instead, we'll just hang on to it to get to a better time. We're being responsible, saying I'm going to continue to pay the mortgage, but now they get hit with this additional fee. They're
trying to avoid foreclosure too.
Yeah.
Not just that I don't want to sell in a bad market. Some people were facing foreclosure because they had to move for whatever reason. They're trying to be responsible. They don't want to default on their mortgage. So an alternative in our free market system is you can rent your real estate. There's another fee that's been coming up in several suburbs and in one version in Minneapolis, and that's I'll call it a vacant building fee. I'm not sure what each city calls it, but I came across this, and it was something that came across my path in Crystal because we managed a single-family home as a rental, and we got the contract in December. It's very difficult to find renters in December, January, and February in Minnesota.
It can take a couple months to find a qualified renter.
Yes, it can. The owner, in the meantime, was maintaining the house. It was vacant, but he was shoveling snow. He was clearing the driveway. He was going in. He was keeping lights on. It was by no means a derelict property. And we found out from the city of Crystal that he was going to have to pay a vacancy fee if the house was vacant for more than 30 days.
More than 30 days. Now, do you remember what the fee was?
I don't. I want to say it was significant. It was maybe $400, $500. I talked to the staff member at the Crystal City Council and said, this is how you're impacting us. This is a property that's no problem. It's not a derelict property. He claimed that they needed the fees in order to monitor these vacant units and make sure that they were maintained, and it cost the city extra money. I said, well, but this house is not costing you extra money. So it was this, and actually Minneapolis also passed a similar fee, but it affects commercial properties.
Okay. And now on top of that, they have what the city of Minneapolis calls the park dedication fee.
Now we got a new one.
A new fee.
Yeah.
And this is affecting homeowners, landlords, and business owners. And here's how it goes. If you have a home or commercial property in Minneapolis proper, and now it is in a state of major disrepair, so someone has purchased it, received it, and now they have to rehab it, bring it up to date, up to code, or they're tearing down and building new. The city of Minneapolis says, well, we're going to charge you $1,500 per unit for a park dedication fee and $200 per employee for a business. Their reasoning was that the park dedication fee is something that needs to be in place because when these properties become rehabbed or people are now occupying them in business, you have a lot more people in Minneapolis who will be brought into the city to enjoy its many parks and lakes. And because these folks haven't had to pay for the amenities of the park system all these years.
Because they're new to town?
Because they're new, as opposed to the established citizens. The city, Minneapolis, says it's only right that they be asked for a surcharge that will go towards the Minneapolis park system. But if a person didn't want to pay this fee, the city said, well, we can forego that fee if you want to simply deed over to the city some of the land that you owned. That you're developing.
Or that you own, yeah.
And to me, this just seems to be another example of just a last-minute grab in an effort for Minneapolis to raise more money for an ever-increasing city budget.
Well, number one, you pointed out to me that this is not going into a dedicated fund, right?
No, it's going right into the city's general fund, and so it's not going to be just used for the park system.
Sure.
It's going to be used for everything else.
Whatever's needed, yep.
And part of the reason why I think this is happening, City of Minneapolis received $64 million last year in state aid.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of cities did, and they're concerned. They see the writing on the wall that the state needs to balance the budget. It's going to have to probably cut back on aid to the cities.
They're not going to get as much.
Yep.
Yeah.
The City of Minneapolis homeowners also gave Mayor Ryback quite a pushback, I think, in the last couple of years in his efforts to raise taxes as well. And so I think he saw this as a nice idea of another way to get revenue in.
Sure.
And it just doesn't make sense. Even though I'm all for the park system, and you are too. And
I would hate to see it deteriorate, or I would hate to lose any of it.
Yeah, and it's one of the great things about the city. However, we're talking about a timing issue. At this time, do we need to have that much additional funds to go in just for that benefit when a lot of just regular basic services need to be continued to be provided to its members?
I just object to I think what happens in the real world is they collect this money under one umbrella, the park system. We need it for the parks. It's like the politicians that every issue they run on, we're doing it for the children. You know what I mean? It's buzzwords. So we need it for the parks. Why not collect the money for what you need it for?
Yeah.
If you can't raise taxes, if you can't get elected because your constituents don't want you to raise taxes, so be it. Then we're going to have to suffer the consequences, aren't we? In the real world?
Doesn't that happen in a homeowner association?
Yes.
And the city is just a little bit bigger association,
that's right.
group of people. But some of this money is just outstanding. I mean, you stop to think about a landlord, an investment owner who wants to buy a dilapidated, let's say a 12-unit property.
Yep, okay.
And
they want to rehab it. They want to provide housing. This is their business.
Good for them. And the city says, hey, we need more affordable housing stock, and we need the stuff that is just outdated and run down and deteriorated to be maintained.
Improve our buildings. That's right.
But now, if you are willing to do that as an investor on a 12-unit, you add $1,500 per unit. That's a $30,000 additional cost just to rehab that building.
And how about other small businesses? You mentioned this. They're saying all new businesses to the city are going to have to pay, what was it, $200 per employee?
Per employee.
For this park
and
fee?
And the way that is figured is they take a look at commercial space typically and say that you need about 250 square feet per employee. So on a 10,000 square foot small building, that's an additional $8,000.
Okay, so tell me, the Star Tribune article I'm looking at, startribune.com, the title is State of the City. That was his address.
Yep.
He was getting, Ryback stresses jobs creation. How does this create jobs in the city of Minneapolis? Why should I put my business in Minneapolis if I have to pay $200 per employee?
Oh, exactly. I mean,
for a park fee.
Call me silly, but I think if you were to talk to just any parent who's been a parent for any length of time, they will tell you that if you want more of a certain behavior from your kids, you reward them. You don't punish them. You reward the actions that you want. You punish what you don't want. In the city of Minneapolis, to say I'm all for business, if you really mean that, if you're really for rehabbing and maintaining the housing stock,
Yes.
good and affordable, don't add on additional fees
Yes.
that are going to cause someone to have to pass that on in the products and services that they provide to the renters and to the people who go to those businesses.
And in many cases, landlords and small business owners cannot pass those costs on because my renters may just move to St. Louis Park.
Yeah.
Where the rent isn't as high because that landlord doesn't have to pay this fee.
But in the overall, the proof is in the pudding, as they say, and that is one of the reasons why they say overall the city of Minneapolis from 2000 to 2008 has shown a decline of over 13,000 homes as people move out of the city into the suburbs.
So we're losing people that have been paying for the parks all these years.
So I guess what we're saying is that, to make a statement just to say I'm pro this or that, you need to let your actions go.
Back up those words.
Exactly. Well, that's property management in the news today. Again, brought to you by Pest Control Services. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to begin our conversation with President of the National Homeowners Advocacy Group, Harvella Jones.